Ole Miss women's golf coach Kory Henkes joining us now on the Raptors Music and Food Hotline. Kory, thanks for the time. You guys just finished up your fall season here recently with the championship at the East Lake Cup. As far as I'm just kind of curious, Ole Miss plays South Carolina in football here in a day or so. Have you gotten some ugly alumni letters the way you've been kind of a pain to the Gamecocks over the last 2 or 3, 4 years?
I have, because my family, we all went there. My brother, sister, and I all played at South Carolina. So we do have a piece of Carolina in our heart as we spend a lot of time there. And I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. So, but I'm a coach. I like to win. I like to compete. So when it comes to, playing sports and we're competing against them, it doesn't matter who it is. We want to win. So, but yeah, it's a fun little rivalry.
Yeah, no, it feels like every time I look up and then whatever the kind of the top thing you guys have done, South Carolina seems right there over the course of this run you're on.
Yeah, my brother tweeted something recently when we were at East Lake. He's like, I'm kind of torn. Who do I pull for, my sister's team or my Gamecocks? So it's been a challenge for everyone, I guess.
Just getting back on the course, I know it's the question you've got a ton, but it's where I'll start too. After the way everything ended in the spring and you not having a lot of uncertainty, what's it been like just to have some semblance of normalcy here the last little bit?
It's been great. Golf is a sport that you can play and play it safely, and we've been really lucky. It's had its trials and tribulations this semester with just worrying every day. You never know if someone's going to get COVID and have to miss a tournament. So, fingers crossed we had the same experience in the spring, but we're very diligent about doing all the right things and making sure everyone stayed healthy. So very lucky to have everyone be able to play that was here. We have one player that's going to be coming in the spring because she couldn't get her visa. But it's just been great to feel that sense of normalcy and do what we all love doing and competing and playing golf, and just really fortunate that the SEC and Ole Miss let us play.
Obviously some SEC only fields and then the opportunity to play in the East Lake Cup. But in general, do you feel like you were able to see enough from your team in the fall? I mean, was it enough of a normal semester going into the spring to feel good about things, to understand kind of what you have from a roster management standpoint? I mean, how do you sort of evaluate the opportunities that you had?
Yeah, we spent enough time together. I would have liked to play more tournaments. Usually we play 4 or 5, and we were able to play 3 this year. But we see them day in and day out at practice as well. So it was nice to just be able to see everyone and see the improvements they've made, given the circumstances. They all worked really hard over the summer while they were home once they were able to get out of quarantine and lockdown. And our Swedish players never had the lockdown, so they were able to practice all summer. So that was nice. But it's been great just to see how hungry this team is and how much they want to play after the letdown of having to stop last season, mid-season. So it's been just really nice to see them pick up where they left off.
What was that like for you, the day you hear that it's shut down, those next 48 hours, just trying to be supportive to your team, obviously, you individually? I mean, what is that like when that happens, when you guys were on a pretty good run there and had a chance to do something pretty substantial?
It really felt surreal. It didn't feel like it was really happening because we kind of heard some, people talking about this COVID thing. And at the time we're like, oh, this can't be a big deal. So, it's tough because obviously we're competitive and we want to keep playing and give these student athletes opportunities that they've worked hard for. And, as a coach too, I mean, this is what we work for, is these opportunities. And so it was really tough. You kind of had to be a sounding board for them and to let them let their emotions out. And then, we had our own feelings and emotions as well as coaches, and just trying to be there for our players and team. And just really fortunate that they allowed the seniors to come back and have another opportunity at it this year.
Also, it allowed you to, you obviously get a couple of players back that maybe you wouldn't have, and you kind of set up your roster pretty well, didn't it?
Kennedy coming back has been a big help. So I know you talked to her early this summer. She's got a lot of fire, had a great summer at the USAM. She's playing some of her best golf she's played since being in college. And so it's really good timing for us. And her main goal of coming back was to try to win another SEC and have a chance at winning a national championship. So she's going to do everything in her power to help make that happen.
I'm just kind of curious. I want to go back even farther than this, but you this week ranked number 2 in the country in the Golf Week rankings, and the way this program's been built over the years. When you took the job, what'd you see at Ole Miss? I mean, when you first apply and you see that this is a program that obviously had not had a lot of success prior to your tenure, what was sort of the pros, the cons? What was the landscape that attracted you to this spot?
Well, I played golf in the SEC, as did my whole family. We played at South Carolina, so I know what the SEC is capable of and the funding. And, when I came on my visit, never in a million years did I think I would live in Mississippi, to be quite honest with you. I'm from South Carolina, and when I looked at the facilities, my first thing, honestly, I told the person, who I interviewed with, I said, these facilities aren't up to par. Where I'm at now is better than this. If you want to compete in the SEC, they've got to get better. And so Coach Malloy has been hands down fantastic, and Lynette and Keith and, Ross when he was here with helping this vision come true. So we now have one of the best short game facilities in the country and a great driving range, and a big thank you to, the Tosh family for making that happen. But, I saw the potential, and I've always enjoyed taking over programs that I can try to help and where I see the potential and I know I can make something great of it. Had some success at Charleston Southern and Augusta State, and just kind of wanted to do the same thing here. And, it's been really fun. I'd like to just keep building on that. And I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. And the best part is just getting the players who want to buy into that vision and want to make something special here, because, you've got to have those players to make history and get the ball rolling like the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Floridas have done. So, that's kind of where we are right now. And it's, like I said, it's great working with the men's golf program, and Coach Malloy's fantastic. And we really work as a family and a program unit versus men's golf and women's golf.
Yeah, you mentioned facilities. Obviously, the short course is fantastic. I mean, we can dive into that. I can just obviously fill people in separately as well. But as far as, even the university course, they do tons to maintain. It looks as good as it can look, given the restrictions or the boundaries that you have. Where do you sort of feel like the facilities do stack up at this point at Ole Miss?
I think they're fantastic. I mean, I've seen leaps and bounds from both programs on, since we didn't have a short game facility to now what we do have, of just how much better the programs have gotten. So it makes a big difference when you can practice these shots. I mean, when we were at the East Lake Cup, multiple times did I say to players, like when Julia had that tough shot on 16, I said, Julia, this is the same shot you hit every day at practice. The same shot you hit over that bunker. She's like, yes, ma'am, I got it, So same thing with Ellen Hume, like, this is what we practice in that chip in shot. This is where it is right here. Let's do it. And so it's just nice to be able to say that and do that. And honestly, we've chipped those shots 100 times. So we definitely stack up as one of the best, and it's just fantastic place to be right now.
That's the best way to explain that, really, for anybody who hasn't seen it or doesn't understand it. You can replicate basically any lie, any shot, any situation up to, 200 yards, frankly?
Yeah, you can hit your driver out. We've played days where we hit our driver out there, and that is the best part, because when it comes down to pressure and you're getting nervous in a nervous situation, the best way to kind of get your mind back is to say, hey, I've done this before. I've done this on our short course, same grass, same shot. I've done it, and I can do it. And so it kind of, takes the pressure off a little bit, knowing that you've done it a bunch of times before.
What's been? I know you make regionals pretty early in your tenure, and they've gotten better and better and better. But from a I guess program standpoint of, it's not really chicken or the egg. In a lot of ways, you've kind of got to start winning a little, then to kind of keep winning and maintain and whatnot. What's it been like, just as far as how you're perceived on recruiting trails and from golfers, from recruits, as far as where the programs come to the interest that you're getting in the school?
It's going definitely trending in the right direction. It's been nice having players, say stuff to us, or even national coaches that we've known throughout the years who, quite frankly, might not have given us a chance on day one when I'm trying to get some players to come here. Mm-hmm. They're like, no, you're not good enough, And so now to still talk to some of these coaches, and they've had a little, change of heart, just seeing what we have done and kind of where we see this program going. And, that's the best part. And I don't blame them. At the beginning, I know we had to prove ourselves a little bit, and that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, just really look forward to continuing that. We've got a great group of girls. No drama. They just want to win, and they want to win for each other. And that's the important part, that, they're going to give it their all to help their teammates out.
What is the difference in recruiting somebody from the United States versus, obviously, you picked up Ellen recently, and different players as far as overseas? How do those processes differ, or the same, or how do they work?
You need to travel overseas a lot, and obviously we can't do that at the moment. So it's either building connections with some national coaches over there throughout the years, or it's traveling to a bunch of the tournaments and watching, because these players don't know the difference in a Duke, an Ole Miss, a Vanderbilt. They just know a lot of times off of ranking or players that have gone there before or things like that. They don't quite understand the conferences and different stuff until they're actually here and can know about it. So a lot of times they base their knowledge off of players who have been at schools before that they know. So it's definitely different, whereas the U.S., they know the difference in the schools and things like that. So, with the COVID going on right now, it's making it a little more difficult for the international recruiting piece of this, but we're just, trying to make the best out of it and do what we can with social media and, Zoom calls and phone calls and things of that sort.
What does your recruiting calendar look like? I mean, how far out do you guys get commitments? I mean, is it more like what I would be used to with baseball, where it's several years out and different things? I mean, how does it sort of work as far as how you're putting that together for future seasons right now?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're kind of looking just one season at a time because
Okay.
we've got players that are still wanting to use a fifth year, and so it's kind of a little bit of roster, not a nightmare, but it's a little more difficult. Let's just say that with because we want to give all of our players who want that fifth year, they deserve it, and so we're going to honor that for them if they choose to accept that fifth year. So it's just trying to figure out how to put those pieces together. But to be quite honest, we're taking it a little bit a year at a time, maybe 2 years out at this point, as far as looking at those commitments right now. We just got a 2021 who signed today. So obviously we're working on our 22s as well.
Okay. You mentioned obviously being from South Carolina, playing at South Carolina. When you finish up, was coaching what was automatically in your mind? I mean, what was sort of those years like, or were they toward the end? I mean, what did you kind of feel like you were going to do for a career at that point?
Yeah, I wrote a paper about coaching way back in the day in college about maybe wanting to do it one day. But when I finished school, I kind of wanted to try things outside of golf. I mean, I spent time caddying on tour for my brother and for my friend Christy McPherson on the LPGA. I traveled with her a lot. I worked for a recruiting firm and I worked for a real estate development company. So I had my real estate license in South Carolina and North Carolina. I just kind of wanted to see there's more to me than just golf. And then it was not until I was at a job that someone called me about an opportunity with coaching, and I kind of jumped all over it because I was really interested in it and something I'd always thought about doing. So I went straight into that as a head coach at Charleston Southern. I was never an assistant coach or anything, so I didn't quite know what I was doing. Just had to figure it out along the way, and I had a great mentor with the men's coach there who's now at UAB, so I really appreciate all of Mike's help. But it's just been really a dream come true, and I don't really ever feel like I'm working because it's just so much fun to work with the student athletes day in and day out, and truly a blessing to be here.
Yeah, I saw you end up getting a second degree in hospitality management or something when I was looking up some different things. Yeah. Had you not coached, are you still doing real estate today? What are you doing?
I don't know. I like it. I'm always, honestly, I look at it about every day just because I'm intrigued by it. So I kind of like it. So maybe, you never know.
What's been, you're at Charleston Southern, you talk about, moving up and the job at Augusta becomes a possibility. What did that transition, I guess, kind of teach you as a coach about yourself, of getting to a school that, ended up turning Augusta into basically, the top 25 program, if you will? What was that step like kind of in your maturation as a coach?
I mean, it felt great because that's always my goals, is just to work my hardest and, just really build something to the best of my ability that we can. So that was a good feeling. At Augusta State at the time, I only had 3.8 scholarships out of 6, and I'm competing against teams that have 6. So that's a challenge, and so you're really having to just do what you can and make the most out of each and every player that you have and just try to develop them. So, it was a huge stepping stone to go from there to Ole Miss. And I remember articles being written that I wasn't going to be, I wasn't a big enough name, that, they should have hired someone's bigger name. And to be quite honest, I'm thankful that person wrote that because it's what motivates me to say, hey, I can do this, So thank you for the person who wrote that article. It keeps me going. And, I just want to prove that I can do it.
You haven't looked them up since then or anything? You hadn't thrown any shots their way?
No, I would never do that.
So you get into, I guess, what was the opportunity like just to get into the East Lake Cup? You're able to get this huge platform, obviously one of the biggest college tournaments as far as profile there is out there, probably other than the postseason. You're ranked off last season. Usually it's the semifinalists and the finalists from the previous NCAA championships. But just from a program standpoint, what did that sort of mean for you guys just to even play, even nevertheless winning?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was unusual circumstances that we're in, but we had a great season last year. So we were truly thrilled. That's been a goal of all of these players, is to qualify for that and make it. And what a great stage that is to, to promote Ole Miss. And we have such a great group of girls that are personable and, love showing their personality and talking about Ole Miss because they're all so proud of it and just really love it as a school. So to be able to have 3 days of national television, international, I should say, just publicity for our team, it just means a lot because they've earned it and they work hard day in and day out. And this hasn't been a process that's come easy, or it hasn't come overnight. You know, a lot of people jump on board once you have success, but you know, this takes time. You know, I'm in my 6th season now, so it's taken about 5.5 years to get here. And, you know, we'd love to be back next year. They just treat you fantastic, and you just feel like you're at a tour event. So it was a great experience for the whole team, and very thankful for all the fans who reached out to us and let us know that they were supporting us.
What has made you guys so good at match play? I mean, what is it about the match play component of golf that's allowed you guys to excel like you have?
I think we have some players. Some of them play with a chip on their shoulder. Some of them are just super feisty, and they love that one-on-one challenge. You know, I can't really explain it. It's just kind of what's inside of you as a person. You know, match play is not easy, and some people hate it. They don't like that feeling of playing against one other person, but you know, we just have a group of girls that really thrive on it and really love it. And so that's great. I'm gonna hope they keep that mentality and keep going forward like that. But you know, it can be tough, and with match play, it can be anyone's game. You know, you can be even par or 1 over and be losing by 3. That's what Ellen Hume was doing the day she played Caitlin Papp. She was playing good golf, but she was 3 down through 9 and just flipped a switch on that back 9. So that's the fun part about it. Anything can happen.
Do you guys practice it? I mean, are you able to replicate that at all?
You can try. I mean, we'll do it sometimes, but you know, it's a little different when you're playing a teammate, and you can replicate it as much as you can, but it's not quite the same as doing it against another team.
I know Kennedy talked about that if you hit it away from the cart path, it's out of bounds and different things. What's some of your other practice quirks to try to get them home then?
Oh boy, yeah, we do that one because we want to make it harder. We want it to be as hard as possible at practice and get easier as we move on. Do a lot of ladder drills that are really hard, and you have to go backwards and until you finish. And a lot of times, if you don't finish it that day, you got to come back the next day, like every day of practice until you get it finished. That way, it's teaching the mentality of never quit, don't give up. You don't get to leave just when practice is up. You know, when practice is up, you leave, but you have to come back the next day to keep working on it. What else? Sometimes you had to add strokes the last 4 holes. If you make a bogey, you add 1, make a double, you add 2, make a triple, you add 3, just for the last 4 holes, because, you know, a lot of times people crumble under pressure. We switch it up a lot.
Yeah, I think Zach told me y'all punished par 5 scoring for a little there at one point, some different things. So
we've done that as well. So it's fun to keep them on their toes, and they like it. They won't admit it, but I think they like it.
Have you seen I mean, it kind of progressed from the very beginning. I mean, you talked about, you get here and you have high expectations, but you saw enough progress to, I know you never necessarily doubted, but to really believe in what you were doing throughout. I mean, you make a regional pretty early in your tenure and kind of continued to build on that. It was pretty steady, right? From the start.
Yeah, it's been steady. I mean, we've moved up every year in the rankings since day one. I mean, we were 134. I think we went to like 102, maybe to 78 or 80 to 40. It's just kind of been a constant, move up 30 spots or so every year. And, a big change. Every player we've had here has been a big piece of this. I would say Julia Johnson and Connor Beth Ball coming in, their attitude was, we want to change this program. You know, Julia had on her refrigerator all of her goals, SEC Freshman of the Year, win the SEC Championship, listed out. And you know what? She's marked off 3 of those. She's been an All-American, 1 SEC's, all Freshman of the Year. So that's the type of people that we want here and that have, really helped this program become what it is today.
What's it been like playing an all-SEC schedule this fall? I mean, and obviously, you guys have played well enough to get into some bigger events anyway nationally. I know that's a huge part of it, is kind of getting good enough to play a tougher schedule and different things. But what's how the girls kind of handled that mindset of every single time out you're playing, frankly, the best teams in the country?
I think they like it because, I mean, it's tough, but luckily we're in a great conference. So, I mean, you have to show up each week. I mean, you could show up and play well and finish 10th. I mean, we're in the SEC, so it's a challenge, and I know they like the challenge. So their goal is to try and win these, and as is every other team's. But nobody's complained about it. No one said anything. They're just happy to be playing at this point. And hopefully in the spring we'll get to play against some other teams, see some different competition. I know everyone's excited about that, and help get everyone a little more ready for regionals and nationals.
Had it been a normal year, your schedule was pretty packed, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had 4 events, and then, because we were maybe going to do the Annika, because we were invited to that, and then we had 4 other events. So it was going to be a full year for sure. But, they allowed us to play 3 events, which once again, very thankful for that, and just lucky to have been able to play right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess strength of schedule wise, it was more than in past seasons, right?
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah, we had a really strong schedule, so and we're trying to work on ours for next year now, and kind of in the same boat of keeping a strong schedule as we can.
So I mentioned before we started the show, you're wearing your Masters attire today. What's the best you've ever done at Augusta National?
Oh well, I've shot 1 under, but then I've
Okay.
also shot 78 and 76. So it's your bad shots are still good shots out there. You're just happy to be there, and you could care less what you shoot. So it's truly an unbelievable place. My favorite week of the year, whether it's in April or in November, it's still the best week of the year.
I said this on the podcast earlier in the week. I mean, I got pretty excited today once you saw it on. I turned it on and streamed it to the TV this morning. But there is something about November that's just not the same. It took all week to kind of get there because we don't get in April, it's the new and the spring and the blooms and the temperatures are warming up. And there's almost kind of an intangible difference that it did just kind of feel like a golf tournament until it actually kicked off this morning.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not the same vibe, but it's not, I think everyone's going to be sitting around watching TV on Sunday when, it comes down to the finals, and it'll be just as exciting, but it's definitely a different vibe. The spring is just a fantastic time for it with the azaleas blooming, and living in Augusta, Georgia for 4 years, it was the best week of the year for sure, and everybody got so excited and hyped about it, and it was just so much fun.
How big of a deal is it for women's golf of them hosting the Women Amateur the last couple of years and that being an annual event moving forward?
It's truly amazing what they've done in recent years to help junior golfers, to help women, to truly help everyone, and to give them the opportunity to play there on a competitive tournament. It's top notch, and really excited for Julia Johnson. Hopefully they play that tournament in the spring since she wasn't able to play last year, but she's super thrilled about that, and just to have that opportunity just shows where the game of golf is going, and to have the support of Augusta National is it's just great to see for women's golf.
What are you guys doing between now and the spring kicks off? I mean, can you still have a normal practice schedule? What happens? I mean, how are y'all kind of shut down or not?
We can't. It's dead period because the exams start and then they all go home. So, everyone's going home for the holidays. And so we won't start back till January with practice and things like that. So it's kind of a long break, but I know everybody is going back home their separate ways and still working on their game. And we can't recruit or do anything right now either as far as on the road or have anyone in town. So it's a little different and unique of what we're used to doing.
Do you give them a bunch of stuff to work on over the course of them going home? Like, how does that work as far as the stuff you give them to prepare with?
A lot of the girls go like play in their own tournaments and stuff like that. Some players are playing some events down in Florida, go back home, work with their instructors back home, things of that sort. So that's the good thing about golf. Most players, they're used to doing their own thing, or they have their own coaches back home as well, so they can keep their game sharp.
I guess kind of last thing, and I mentioned this, I guess last time you and I talked, but you're obviously doing it alone. You had Drew and now Zach. I mean, it's from an assistant coach standpoint, recruiting, teaching, and whatever. That's been a pretty integral part for your program.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying that, obviously you've been able to attract and keep assistant coaches. It's also been a huge part of your program. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, I've been so lucky to have, Drew and Zach, just both, been great people and worked really hard, and they're just easy to relate to. And, and it's nice having a different opinion sometimes. And I couldn't have asked for better people to work with. And I think that's a big part of the success is surrounding myself with people who make me better, who maybe have some strengths that are my weaknesses and vice versa, and who the girls can relate to and feel comfortable around. And so just really pleased with, all the help that Zach's been giving me, and, can't thank him enough for all his hard work. And it's just been truly fantastic.
How do you guys decide who to walk with each tournament? Like, do you move around a little bit? Does it depend on the player on who wants you around? How does that work?
Kind of, a lot of times we'll just tell them at the beginning of the week, or we'll ask them, what do y'all need? And some will say, hey, would you mind helping me read putts? Would you mind walking with me? Others will say, hey, I'm good, go with someone else. Mm-hmm. So I prefer, a lot of times what it's kind of worked, I'll walk with one player and Zach will be the one that hops around to kind of check on it, player to player, and see who needs what. And we're keeping an eye on scores to see kind of which direction he needs to go. But last tournament I walked all 3 rounds with Ellen Hume, and then I dropped back with Julia or another Kiara or Andrea or somebody. So, there's not really a rhyme or reason. It's just kind of what we feel is necessary that day.
Well, Kory, I appreciate the time. Let's do it again in the spring. Enjoy the I guess time off for a little bit, and good luck as we move forward.
Thanks, Chase. Thanks for having me. Take care.